These are the faces of the British victims of so-called honour killings. I'm saying so-called because the word honour has no place in any discussion about murder and abuse.
Right, grab a brew and listen up. This is Jack Carter. Honour killings, forced marriage and female genital mutilation are still happening in Britain in 2026. And far too many people on the left and in the media are still refusing to call it out plainly.
There are an estimated 12 victims each year in the
This isn't ancient history. This isn't somewhere else. This is happening here, in towns and cities across the UK to British girls and women. Let's be clear from the start. This is not about every Muslim family. Most people just want to live peacefully. But there are very real, documented patterns of abuse, coercion and violence that get hidden behind the words culture, tradition or community sensitivity.
So-called honour killings are denounced by all major religions, yet there are around 5,000 each year across the world, largely from South Asia, the Middle East and North Africa. One of the most high-profile victims was Kandil Baloch, Pakistan's first social media celebrity who was killed by her brother in 2016.
And when that happens, the victims, often young British girls, get failed by the very system that supports to protect them. We've seen cases where girls are taken abroad for forced marriages, where they're threatened with violence if they refuse, where they're cut off from friends, school or any outside help. Some are subjected to FGM, an illegal, barbaric practice that causes lifelong physical and psychological harm. Schools, social workers and police sometimes know something is wrong, but too often they hesitate. They worry about being labelled racist, they worry about community relations, they worry about headlines. So the girl gets let down. That is not compassion. That is cowardice. Real safeguarding doesn't care about political correctness. If a child is at risk of being forced into a marriage, abused or mutilated, the response should be immediate, firm and uncompromising, regardless of the family's background. The same goes for honour-based violence. When a girl is threatened or attacked by her own family for bringing shame, that is not a cultural difference to be respected. That is domestic abuse and attempted murder. British law is supposed to protect everyone equally. One standard, no exceptions, no parallel rules. Yet we keep seeing cases where the system treats these issues with kid gloves because they're politically awkward. And the silence from large parts of the feminist movement is deafening. These are the same people who will march and scream about toxic masculinity or the patriarchy in the West. But when the control and abuse comes wrapped in religion, culture or community pressure, they suddenly go quiet, make excuses or change the subject. That selective outrage betrays the very women they claim to fight for.
British victims of
British women fought for decades for the right to choose who they marry, to leave abusive relationships, to live freely and safely. Those rights should apply to every girl born or raised here, full stop. If we truly believe in women's rights, then we defend them even when it's uncomfortable, even when it challenges fashionable narratives, even when it means offending certain communities. I want to hear from you in the comments, especially the women watching. Have you seen honour-based pressure or forced marriage risks in your area? Do you think the system is too scared to act properly? Why do you think so many feminists stay silent on this? Be honest, these stories need to be heard. If you're tired of selective outrage and want real protection for every British woman and girl, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm Jack Carter. This is Real UK Pulse. And some rights are worth defending. For all women, not just the ones that fit the narrative. Outro music.